Intro. So the other day when we were in Des Moines, Iowa, we were in the hotel. We decided to go to the pool, and the pool had like a water slide, it had a little kiddie pool, like a pirate ship, a hot tub that was 4 feet deep. It was by far the deepest hot tub I've ever been in. But anyways, that's besides the fact. Uh, I told my daughter to meet me at this pool, and I went over there, and she wasn't there yet. So I started walking around, and I couldn't find her. I'm like, well, where's my kiddo? So I started getting nervous, and it felt like 5 minutes. It's probably like just a minute, and just me being a parent and panicking a little bit. But I finally found her, and it got me thinking, like, hey, what if someone would come talk to my daughter or try to abduct her or whatever? Like, what do I need to teach my child to be confident enough to say things to get her out of a situation? So that's what this podcast is going to kind of be about. It's going to be like a mixture of teaching our children and what we should actually teach our children. And I don't know, my thoughts. Here we go. Cue the music.
Welcome to the whatever.
The Ride or Die podcast.
Yeah.
Say it.
The Ride or Die podcast.
Wait, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ride or Die podcast. I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. I know it's my buddy's secret birthday party tonight, and I'm pretty excited about that. My buddy Ben, I talked about on the podcast before, super good guy. I'm really excited to go surprise him with his growing of age. And yeah, otherwise, life's good. My shoulder's a little bit still messed up. But back to what I was talking about in the intro. My daughter kind of disappeared on me, and I, as a parent, I immediately thought worst things possible. Like I listen to a lot of Crime Junkie, and I think if anybody listens to Crime Junkie, they should be terrified because bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. Excuse me. So yeah, it's like my daughter kind of disappeared on me, and I ended up finding her. But I looked at Rayleigh. I'm like, hey, Rayleigh, what would happen? What would you do if someone would, if an adult would tell you to come here or approach you or whatever, or even worse comes to worse, grab you? And I told my daughter's like, well, if he grabbed me, I'd just start screaming. I'm like, well, that's not really going to do anything, right? You just might be a child screaming and a parent. Like I've seen parents grab kids and their kids are screaming and whatnot. So I told her, I'm like, hey, if someone would ever grab you, you scream and kick, but you also say that this ain't my parent. You got to use your words to hopefully someone would be like, oh, what is going on there? Why is this kid saying this ain't my parent? Or, so I told her, hey, make sure you scream. If someone would grab you, scream, this ain't my parent. Help, this ain't my parent, continuously. And hopefully, I'm always in the same vicinity. Like I would hear her, but hopefully someone else would be like, hey, what's going on? And I also told her, if someone would ever come and invite her or anything like that to say, you're not my, scream, you're not my parent, and run and find me. And with her screaming, hopefully I would end up hearing. She's always, like I said, in the same facility as me. So I would hear her. But how do you get your child to do that? You kind of have to give them confidence and encouragement and even train, right? Like, you got to repetition it. So when stuff happens, she just muscle memory kind of situation where she just go and do it. So, I'm going to talk about things that it's not just about, situations like that. I'm just going to go over a list of things that I think, I'm going to start going through with my daughter. I got a couple here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, man, I got a lot. I didn't think I had that many, but and it's like honesty, accountability, curiosity, respect, empathy, determination, open communication, and confidence. Well, honesty, let's start with that. Honesty is pretty simple, right? The one thing I always tell my daughter is like, if you're honest, you don't have to make anything up. Life's easier. And if you get in trouble, whatever, that goes with accountability. who cares? You're gonna screw up. That's all about life. No one really learns, or I should say, everybody learns best when they screw up. I screw up all the time at work. Well, I shouldn't say all the time, but I have screwed up a lot. And when it happens, I don't really try to hide it. I'm just like, if someone finds out, I'm like, yeah, dude, that was me. And and I think I've got my hand slapped before, and man, it sucks. It sucks when you screw up, but you gotta be honest and it just makes you a better person. You gotta explain that. When you are just honest about things that happen, and you take accountability of things that you did or accidentally did or did on purpose, it's good. It just makes you a stronger human being and everything like that. So honesty is one of the number one things I think every child should know, because I watched this documentary one time, and they put this kid in a bedroom, or I should just say a room, not a bedroom, but a room, and they say, hey, don't look behind you. Whatever's back there, if you can wait 5 minutes and not look behind you, you can go play with what's ever behind you. So they all of a sudden they start hearing these toys and like a train whistle and stuff like that, and all these kids are like, oh, what's back there? What's back there? What's back there? And every once in a while you see a kid go, whoop, take a look. So, and naturally when they came and they come to the child, like, hey, did you look behind you? And the kids that didn't look behind them, they're like, no, I didn't look behind me. And so they got to turn around and go play with the toys. But then the kid that did look behind them, they also said, no, I didn't look behind me. And, they didn't call him out or anything like that. But it's little things like that I want to teach my daughter, just to be honest. Those white lies can turn into bigger lies. And everybody does a white lie. You can't not do a white lie, I think, in life. Sooner or later, you might do a white lie to make someone not feel as bad, which is understandable. But in basics, teaching your children honesty. Honesty is huge. And then that goes right into accountability. Like I said, I've been in a lot of trouble at work because I screwed up, or, I broke something. And where I work, if you break something, it usually costs a lot of money. But taking accountability is a very good characteristic when you do screw up. Even when you do something good, I try not to. That's one thing I don't take accountability. If I do something good, I'll be like, no, well, yeah, it was me, but I don't be like, yeah, it was me. Woo, I did that. Don't do that. I used to be like that, and my ego and all that stuff went high, and it was really weird. And now I'm on a crew where we really don't take credit for anything. If someone else, if I did something and someone's like, hey, good job, and I'll look at like one of my buddies that I work with, I'm like, nope, Trevor did it. And Trevor will be like, nope, McLean did it. And McLean will be like, nope. So no, as a crew, we all take account. No one takes accountability because we're a crew, man. We work hard and we do our thing, and we don't need all this I'm better than you kind of nonsense, especially with the oil field being the way it is. It's very competitive, but this crew that I'm on right now is completely different. And it's just fun to work with everybody. And I think that's one aspect of us, almost like anti-accountability. Like the whole crew takes accountability of the individual doing good, kind of like in sports, right? So accountability. The next one I'm going to talk about, I'm kind of going through these a little bit quick. Maybe I should slow down. But curiosity. Everybody's curious about stuff, right? Especially growing up. And man, growing up, being a child, 13, 14, 10, going through puberty, wondering about what the other sex is like, maybe kissing, hugging, and all that stuff. Curiosity is good. I will never tell my daughter not to try anything, as long as it's healthy and she ain't gonna get hurt from it. Yeah, try everything. And then the whole thing, like, she's gonna get older and be wondering about boys and wondering about sex and all that. And I'm like, that's a weird thought, man. My little daughter having sex with another guy, and the guy I don't know, but she likes him. So when that conversation comes, the one thing I'm gonna tell her is, don't do things because you want other people to want you. Don't do things because you want other people to like you. Don't do things because you think your social status will go up. You do things because you want to do it. That's the best thing about curiosity, is because you want to do it. And, that kind of goes in the peer pressure and all that nonsense. But I just want her to know, like, hey, if you want to do something, make sure you want to do it because you want to do it, not because you want other people to like you or a person to like you. And I think that's huge. I hopefully I can get that in her mind. Of course, people these days being children, that's easier said than done. So yeah, I think curiosity is super good. I'm always curious about stuff. I just started like a Cerakote business. I don't know if you know what Cerakoting is. It's a polymer based paint kind of, and it takes forever to do. It's mainly a lot of people use it for like pistols and guns, but you can do all kinds of stuff. Skateboards, wooden things, plastic things, headphones, microphones, guitars. I've seen bicycles. It's really cool, and I'm really interested in it, and it's a lot of fun. But even for like a little Glock pistol, I Cerakoted for my girlfriend. If I had it in here, I'd kind of show the camera, but it took me like maybe 5 to 6 hours. It takes a long time. It takes a super long time, and you got sandblast and all that stuff. But that's me going off on a little tangent. I was curious in it because that's something I want to do, and now I kind of got a side business going. So my curiosity got me into that, and then like this podcast, man, that's boom. I was curious what we do, and now I got a little bit of a fan base. I think on YouTube I got 27 followers, and I bet half of them are my family. But it don't matter. It's the curiosity got me into this situation where I'm putting myself on the internet, and so far it's been good. I think it's been really good. So curiosity, like I want, like when my daughter finds something she thinks she'll like to do, I'm going to help her explore it as best as an adult as I can. So curiosity. Now, respect. This one, man, I'm getting so mad just thinking about it. So we were at this hotel and they had a water slide, and me and my daughter wanted to race. So we went up there, and there was this one kid. He looked at his friend that was behind everybody. She's like, hey, come here. And this kid started walking up. I'm like, whoa, dude, no cuts. And this kid's like, yeah, there's cuts. I'm like, oh, there are? He goes, yep. I'm like, don't be rude. He goes, nope, there's cuts. And I'm like, okay, how about everybody jump in front of you? And he's like, no. I'm like, how can that doesn't make any sense. And it was one of those things. This kid kept talking bad to me, and I was like, whatever. He's just a little kid. It didn't really bother me. But even his friends were like, hey man, hey dude, just chill out. I'm not gonna jump the line. But me as a kid, yeah, I talked back a little bit, but I was also afraid for the most part. Like if I felt like I was on the right, like I screwed up. I feel like I'm very respectful these days compared to when I was, younger. But I just want my daughter to, respect adults or just respect other children, right? If someone would butt her or whatnot, say, hey, you got to respect everybody else in line that you're butting. And so, and it also goes back to that scary thing where maybe a adult would tell my daughter or someone else's daughter, like, hey, come here. Now, you got to tell her like that you don't have to respect that. Because if you're doing nothing wrong and this person just comes out of the blue, you don't respect that. You get the hell out of there. Like there's no reason, most likely, for any adult to come to a child and say, hey, come here, or whatever, candy, dog, whatever. So you also got to teach the difference between respect and what they have to do in a certain situation. Because my mom, when I was growing up, she always felt bad about this, and she shouldn't. I get in a lot of trouble because these teachers would get on my case a lot, and I tell this to my mom, and my mom would be like, the teachers are right. So then one day I was playing bingo at the school. I think I was in junior high, and what exactly happened? I was with all my friends, and this teacher that I had a lot of problems with tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, hey, Matthew, there is a TV right behind you can look at. I'm like, yeah, so all my friends are over here so I can see. And he looks at me, goes, what'd you say? I go, all my friends are over here. He goes, before that. I'm like, yeah, so? And he grabbed me by the neck, not by the neck, kind of by like the collar, picked me up and sat me by myself. And I was like, wow, I don't know what I really did. I remember this stuff fairly clearly. I didn't know what I did. But that teacher went to another teacher and started talking, and they ran a couple of my friends. And that teacher said, that kid's going to amount to nothing. And That kid told his mom, and his mom called my mom, and then my mom was like, oh, okay, well, the teachers aren't always right. So the respect thing is really hard because I was trying to respect and whatnot, but my attitude or whatever maybe got misplaced with disrespect, and it was a big thing. And that comes up on another thing, like when you're a parent, your biggest fan are your kids, but it should go back. It should go the other way too. Your kid's biggest fan should be you. So just listen to your kids. If something's going on, maybe something's actually going on. Like it happened with me. Like I had all these problems with these certain teachers. I was actually a certain teacher. Excuse me, I burped. Wait. Yep, burped again. But if my daughter would start coming and be like, hey, things are happening at school and whatnot, you gotta at least take a look into it, right? Just take a look, see what's going on, have a conversation with those teachers. Because I don't ever want to feel what my mom felt, as in me crying for help in a sense and her not believing me. Empathy. What exactly is empathy? My definition is the empathy is the understanding of someone's situation. Like you might not have to care about the situation. You might think like, oh, that's their problem. But empathy, my definition is understanding someone's situation or maybe mental status. Empathy is a thing that I'm really bad at. Like I understand people's situations, but I just don't care. As in, hey, this is life. Bad things happen, shitty things happen, great things happen. We all go through it. Like I don't care that you flatten your tire on the way to work. I don't care that you were late to work. I don't care. That happens. It makes you a better person as long as you learn from it. But there are certain situations, of course, I feel bad, like, accidents or whatnot. But in general, when people bicker at me about their life and what's going on, sorry, dude, don't care. I had worse situations, and maybe you've had other worse situations than I had. Things happen. Life happens. Grow up. That's kind of that's why I'm bad at it. My girlfriend thinks I have a very lack of empathy because when she talks to me, and I really got to focus and try my hardest to understand her situations, but I don't know what to say. I'm trying, but that's something even as an adult, I'm still trying to learn empathy. I just like when it comes to training in jiu-jitsu, to like being competing. And let's say I'm trying to compete and this other person's going to have a competition and I'm going hard and they get mad at me because maybe I accidentally hurt them or I'm going too rough or whatnot. It's like, we're competing. Like let's compete. That's what it is. And I want to say I'm a gym bully. I don't really roll with a lot of people these days for that fact, because I feel like I'm giving that a vibe off like I'm a gym bully, and I'm just competitive. That's all I can say, and that's why I try not to go with certain people. And I know I used to be really bad about it, but nowadays I just pick and choose who to roll with. If someone would ask me to roll, awesome. But most likely, I'm just gonna sit in the corner until someone asks me to roll, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because it's a gym and I don't want them to feel uncomfortable around me. And my coach has talked to me a couple times through the last 8 years I've been going to that gym. Like, hey, Matthew, blah this, blah that, and I'm like, okay. So I do have a thing where I'm very competitive, and I like to talk shit. And at my gym, it's not really a good thing to do. So, like I said, I instead of me learning empathy, I just kind of veer away from it all, so I don't put myself in that situation, because that's just who I am. When I'm at work, we're very competitive and we like to have a lot of fun and we talk a lot of shit. But when I have to switch that and come to my real world life, it's not the same. Not the same at all. Like my language I use, my tone of voice that I use, I always try to change it all. I just try to relax and vibe out. So yeah, empathy. That's one I'm still struggling with. Determination. Now, determination is I don't know how you really teach that. It's almost determination and confidence are two things you really are a very hard thing to teach. But determination, the only way I know how to teach determination is by being determined to do stuff yourself and teaching by action, right? That's the only thing I can really think of, because how do you teach determination? That's a mental aspect where they want something so much they'll do everything for it. That's determination. That's the ride or die kind of platform I have. That's everything. Ride or die is basically life choices, man. Like ride or die are people you're gonna live with and die with, and ride or die are things that you're gonna live for and die for. That's kind of my definition of ride or die. So determination. This as a parent, I want her to see me be determined to do something. That's because as a big reason why I wanted her to see me in that jiu-jitsu tournament. I didn't win, but she saw me do it. She saw me. I was determined. She saw me go against this really big guy, and she saw me lose, but she understood that I was determined to compete, and that's the only way I know how to teach that. And hopefully I'm doing it right. Does anybody else know a better way to do it? Throw something in the comments, or however you want to communicate with me. The Ride or Die Podcast on Instagram, or the Ride or Die Podcast at Gmail. Message me. I don't know. Determination, such a weird one. But the next one is I think really important these days, because there's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions and a lot of different ideas and a lot of different ways how to do things, and it's open communication. And so I like jiu-jitsu, I like guns, I like motorcycles. I don't party really. I don't really drink. I'll have a couple drinks with my girlfriend in the evenings. I'd like to work hard. I like to swing hammers. I like art. I like a lot of things, but there's a lot of people out there that I know personally, and they give me that vibe that they don't really care for me and care for my beliefs, which is fine. I really don't care. But I'm open to for everything. If you don't like guns, that's cool. It doesn't hurt me. You not liking guns don't take my guns away. It doesn't do anything. But it's where am I going with this, man? I've been talking for 20 minutes and I don't know. So I'm gonna tell a little story, and I was just at Menards the other day, and two weird things happened. And I'm going with open communication to tell these stories just because it popped up in my head as it comes on. So right away in there, and I don't wear a mask unless I'm asked to. I usually have one in my pocket. If I don't, well, I'll ask them if they have any. If they don't, well, I'll be like, all right, see you later. But this, I went to get some acetone. I need that for my little Cerakote business, and I walked through the Menards, and I walked through Menards, and this guy's like, "Hey, do you need anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need acetone." All right. And he said, how many? I'm like, "I need 2 gallons." And I'm like, "Okay." He puts the 2 gallons in my cart, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh, by the way, you can't be in here without a face mask." And I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Do you got one?" I go, "Yeah." And I put it on, but it was so weird that why didn't he just start with that? Why didn't he say, "Hey, sir, you can't be in here without a face mask"? But he led me to my aisle. He put these gallons of acetone in my my little cart, and he's like, "Hey, you need this." It was just super weird. But the funny thing about the story, when I first showed up and I parked and I walked away. I'm like, wow, I'm in you got your parking lines. You park in between your 2 lines, and I was fairly in the center. I would say I was in the center. But the person next to me was right on the line. Her driver door was fairly close to my door. And I was like, whatever. They parked my asshole. So I left, went to the store, came back in. And when I left, I put my shopping cart away. I stepped in my vehicle. And I see this person that was next to me pull out and drive forward and roll down. And this little old lady rolls down the window, and she looks at me and goes, "You're a bastard." And I'm like, whoa. And she's yelling at me through the window. So I'm like, okay, little old lady, you want to have a screaming contest? Let's see if you win this one. And she rolled down the window, and I said, "Excuse me?" And she goes, "You're a bastard. I had to do this. I had to get through my passenger seat. I have arthritis and all this." And all I'm thinking is like, wow, man, this is just a little sad little lady. Maybe she's just having a rough day, and I I'm like, nah, I'm not even gonna deal with this. And I look at her, I'm like, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I parked the way I parked. Not, I wasn't really sorry because I was in the middle of my parking area. It's not my fault she parked like an asshole, but I didn't want her to. I didn't want to have an argument, and maybe that made her day a little bit better. That someone apologized for something she thought I did wrong, and I didn't do anything wrong. I know I didn't, but I'm not gonna sit there and worry about little things. Like that's what I left that conversation the open conversation. Like, okay, all right, that's her thoughts, and I'm gonna let her just deal with it. Yeah, I'm an asshole. I'm a bastard or whatever she called me. But at the end of that day, man, I was okay. Like I didn't do anything wrong. I just because her feelings got hurt don't mean my feelings got hurt. But I did take the time to say no, and maybe that actually goes back to empathy. Maybe I do have a little empathy in me. I don't know. That's a good thought. But yeah, confidence. Here goes confidence. How do you teach confidence? Man, confidence. The more you do things, the more confident you get at it. Of course, right? So the only thing I know how to teach confidence is by when my daughter wants to try something, let's do it. And when she does it, cheer her on. So, right? Because have you ever played sports and I remember the first basket I shot and my parents were so proud. They screamed, clap, woo, mother, woo. And I was really excited. I was like, us. And I was really good at basketball, especially in the elementary school. Then junior high was good, but then I got in trouble for smoking because I thought I was a badass, but I wasn't. I was just a little turd. But yeah, just encourage. Even that even goes with adults too. There's a lot of adults that are scared to try things. If you have people in your family or life, just cheer them on to do stuff. Cheer them on to come hang out. Just like one of my buddies, his brother passed away not too long ago, and ever since that, it seems like he's not completely he's just a little off. He doesn't hang out anymore. He doesn't do anything. I really don't know what to do about it that much. But so when he does come around, I try my hardest to start a conversation, but the conversation usually lasts a little bit. Then he's just veers off into Wonderland or wherever he needs to go to relax. And I try to help him because I think when people go into situations like that, they lose confidence and they don't want to do anything. So you kind of got to get them in the back in a rhythm to say, hey, let's live life. So that was kind of like a quick podcast. I don't know how quick it was. I don't know how fast I was talking. I know this weekend I was actually supposed to drive to Dickinson for my dad's birthday motorcycle run today, but last night I found out he canceled it because the weather's supposed to be pretty crappy. So that gives me a little bit extra time. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, but I'm going to pack up all my podcast gear and try to do go and do a podcast with my dad. Hopefully, I think that'd be super dope. My dad is a fairly interesting person. He's been to like 20 countries. He's been president of the National Dart Association. He's owned his own business. He owns a lot of real estate. He's a commissioner of Stark County. He's had 8 wonderful kids, one being me, and I'm the most wonderful-less. Is that a word? It is a word now because it's me. Yeah, so hopefully that pans out. If not, whatever, I'm still going to take it all down, and maybe I kind of want to try a podcast with me and my buddy Wagon and just have a drink or two and hang out and see what the conversation goes. He's one of my best friends, so I think that'd be fun. I think one of these days, me and my girlfriend are going to do a podcast, and I want to start bringing people in, like my coach Joey that does boxing, my coach Dylan that does jiu-jitsu, my buddy Hunter. There's a couple of people that asked to be on the podcast. There's a chiropractor in that Minneapolis area that said he'd be willing to do it. And if I can just take all my stuff and they got a table that I can set everything up and you can see all their stuff, I think that'd be super dope. So yeah, but if you want to get a hold of me, DM me on Instagram, the Ride or Die Podcast, Gmail, the Ride or Die Podcast at Gmail. Just, yeah, man. Whatever you do, train hard, do good, be kind. Peace.